We're here today with Ileen Zovluck, who teaches guitar and who has a profile on FindaGuitarTeacher.com. Welcome, Ileen. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, thanks, James. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us also. I'm looking forward to hearing more about your guitar playing. Can you tell us first where you teach? What city and what state are you in?
I am in the state of New Jersey, in Teaneck, New Jersey, which is about 6 miles from Midtown Manhattan.
And do students come to you, or do you travel to your students' homes?
Students exclusively come to me in my studio here, and the reason for that is because students usually do better with no distractions, and when they're in their homes, there's lots of distractions, obviously, even in the most quiet home. There's televisions and refrigerators, and this is very, very concentrated. It's very quiet, and it's soundproofed, and there's no distractions here.
And how would you describe the guitar lesson climate in Teaneck? Do you find that there are a lot of people who want to learn guitar?
Yes, I was actually very surprised when I moved here a few years ago that it's probably more less guitar friendly, instrument friendly than even Manhattan. People here are very culturally and arts oriented, and they really want to learn an instrument, especially one that's portable, as much as guitar is. So it's really very embraced here.
That's great. And what styles of music do you teach?
Well, I'm trained classically, but I teach about 80% classical, and the rest are a combination of folk, pop, a little blues, but usually all acoustic.
And tell us, Ileen, when you're teaching, what guitars do you use? Are there any particular instruments that you play frequently when you're teaching?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right now I'm exclusively playing guitars by a Massachusetts luthier who is still making. His name is Alan Chapman. He's in central rural Massachusetts, and I play 2 guitars of his. They're both vintage now. One is a 1980, and that's custom made. And one is a 1984 that wasn't custom made, but I've had customized quite a bit. The next instrument that I actually have on order. And it's a shout out to the fabulous New Jersey luthier, Garrett Lee, who lives in Wayne, New Jersey. And he's making me a double top guitar that will be ready in a couple of years.
And I'm sure that will sound beautiful when it's ready. Well, do you have either of the Chapman guitars available to play? We'd love to hear you play something so that we can get a feel for the style that you play.
Sure. This is the Chapman 1980. I call it Guitar A because I just like it better.
Yes.
And
maybe, Ileen, you could just move back a little bit more just so we can see your right hand when you play.
Yeah. Chapman A.
And perfect. Let's hear what Chapman A sounds like.
I'm gonna play a little Ponce. I'm gonna play a Ponce prelude, this is his F sharp minor prelude, the first one.
That's beautiful, Ileen. Thanks for playing that for us.
You're welcome.
Well, that leads me into my next question. Hearing you play makes me think about your approach to guitar teaching. When you're with a student who comes to you, do you teach different levels of students, beginners or intermediate or advanced?
I teach all levels up to professional. Beginners, that's an interesting question. I prefer to take beginners that either have already played an instrument or can at least read a little music or have played by ear in the past. Rank beginners are a little, it depends. I screen them, but I prefer to teach intermediate and advanced levels. But any level will do.
And say when a typical student comes who would be more intermediate or advanced, what is your approach to teaching that student guitar?
You mean in regards to what methods I use?
Exactly. Say a student comes to you, or say a prospective student is watching this interview. What would you say to them to explain to them how you would be teaching them when they come to you?
Well, no matter what instrument you play, it's important to know how to play regardless of style.
Yes.
Whether you're a jazz player or a classical player, you still have to know the layout of an instrument well. And that frees you up to do whatever you want. With most students, I begin with either the Alfred's method, the Alfred Auberge method, especially for younger students, or the Mel Bay methods, or very often the Frederick Node methods, which are superb. I incorporate with intermediate and advanced players a lot of individual pieces, not necessarily method books. Right. And that's a gradual process, beginning with Carcasi or Soar or Albéniz or Granados, very much of the basics. Then you can get to more advanced work.
Of course. And can you tell us a little bit about your fees and your scheduling format? How often do you work with students?
The lessons are once a week, no more than that. Because you need that much time to prepare what you've played over the course of a few days. It's too soon to do it twice a week. My lessons are usually hourly. I do 30-minute lessons for young children under the age of 12. The 1 hour lesson is $60, and the half hour for children under 12 is $40.
And there was one other thing. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Yes, going back to equipment and guitars and so on, I would imagine guitar students have a lot of questions about what guitar to buy. Do you offer guidance to your students?
Yes. It depends on how little or much they know or how much they think they want. It's often a question of budget. But we're very lucky because in this area of New Jersey, there are quite a number of really reliable, trustworthy instrument retailers, guitar retailers specifically. And I work with them because I want my students to get the best guitar suited for them. So I don't want to have to haggle with the retailers to sell me something. So I ask them to keep some instruments in stock, but there are quite a few. And I will either choose a guitar for them and they can just go and pick it up if they feel comfortable with that.
Yes.
Or very often I'll go shopping with the student. They usually do better when they have a buddy system, especially one who can hear what they're doing, to buy an instrument.
That helps out a lot when you're going to choose an instrument. That can be something that can cause a lot of anxiety when you're first playing the instrument and thinking about purchasing one of your own. So I think that sounds like a good approach to it.
It gives a lot of anxiety even when you know what you're doing. It's a purchase, and it's a purchase, and it's a bit of a stretch to buy something that you've never seen before. So yeah, it works out really nicely. It's hard to do that in a lot of cities, but it's really, really easy here.
Once again, it sounds like Teaneck is a great place to be to teach guitar.
It is, yeah.
Well, Ileen, I want to thank you so much for taking this time to be with us today and discussing your guitar teaching with us. And we look forward to seeing you on Find a Guitar Teacher very soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ileen, and take care. Have a good day now.
Been a pleasure. You too.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.